All right, everybody, we're back at 12.2, more complicated probability. We are still in the same eligible content, but today we may or may not be looking for more than one thing. The key words or the concept is every action that you do gets its own fraction. So we're going to look at these two spinners. We have some spinners that have numbers and we have some spinners that have letters. And we are going to do two things. So the first thing we're going to look for is a 4 on the first spinner and a C on the second spinner. So it's the probability of a 4 and then a C. So we need two fractions, and that is because there are two actions. We are going to spin each spinner once, which indicates two actions. So the first spinner will get its own fraction, and the second spinner will get its own fraction as well. So let's see here. Spinning a 4. Well, the first fraction is going to be a single 4 out of a total of 8 times a single C out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces. So it's 1C out of, what did I just say? 6 equal pieces. So we are looking at the probability of a 4 and then a C is 1 over 8 times 1 over 6. In your calculator, you would end up with 1 out of 48 when you multiplied that straight across and did math, enter, enter. I'm going to change all of these to percentages after I do the fractions. So now I need a probability of getting an even, and then I have a second spin, I'm going to get a C. So an even number would be, let's go ahead and erase, even is going to be boom, 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 boom. So that is 4 out of 8 as a possibility. And then I'm going to need to multiply that by, we already did C, there's just one C out of 6 equal spaces. So in your calculator, you're going to multiply that. You're going to get 4 over 48 if you did it in your head, and you'll divide by 4 and get 1 out of 12. Now, if you do math, enter, enter on your calculator, I guess it would be smart for me to show you. Here it comes. I'm going to do, what was my first fraction? There it is, 4 out of 8 times 1 out of 6, math, enter, enter, and there's where I'm getting that final answer of 112. Now the next thing we need to do is get a greater than 3. So how many items are greater than 3 and then a B? How many items are greater than 3 and then a B? So let's erase. I'm looking for greater than 3, greater, 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 and then a B. So there are 2. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 and 2 out of 6. So let's see, that's going to be 5 out of 8 times 2 out of 6. 5 out of 8 times 2 out of 6. 5 times 2 is 10 out of 48 divided by 2 is 5/24. Again, however, I think it would be good if you, now there's your work, okay? So you have to show your work either in that column or the other column. And just to show you, 5 over 8 times 2 over 6, you get 5 over 24. And again, I'll go back and make these percentages in a little bit. Now let's take a look what's going to happen. You're going to roll a number die 2 times, and then you're going to flip a coin. Okay, so we're going to roll a number die twice. So number die, and then we're going to flip a coin. Coin. So this is the number die, this is the number die, and this is the coin. And that's going to happen every time on this problem. So the first thing we're going to look at on a number die is a 4. There's only one 4 out of 6 choices. Then we want a 5. Well, there's only one 5 out of 6 choices. And then we want a head. There's only one head out of 2. So I'm going to do 1 over 6 times 1 over 6 times 1 over 2. And math, enter, enter. Aye, aye, aye. 1 out of 72 there. So it is just 1 out of 72. Now remember, this is essentially going to be the same thing. So let's see how that's going to change. So we are going to do an even. Well, how many evens are on a number die? There's 2, 4, and evens would be 2, 4, and 6. So that's 3. Higher than 3 is 4, 5, and 6. So there's 3. And then what am I looking for? Tails, that's just 1. Okay, so you're going to do 3 over 6 times 3 over 6 times 1 over 2, math, enter, enter, and we get 1 over 8 as a final answer. And if you wanted to multiply that together, that would have been 9 over 72, which is where the 1 over 8 is coming from. Now we need greater than 3, so that's going to be 4, 5, and 6 in our number die. And I'm going to very sneakily just, whoa, not do that. Bring that down. I'm going to erase my numerators. In fact, I'm going to change this to a different color so I don't get too confused. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so there are 3 things that are greater than 3. Something that's odd, there's 3 odd numbers, the 1, the 3, and the 5, and a heads or a tails, so that would be 2. So I get 3 over 6. 3 over 6 times 3 over 6 times 2 over 2. Final answer of, math enter, enter, 1/4. So there it is as a fraction. So again, if you were doing that by hand, that would be 9. 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18 over 72, which is why it reduces to 1/4. All right. Now we're going to do something else here. We're going to have a bag. We're going to have 10 yellow, 6 green, 9 orange, and 5 red. And these are all going to be cards. They're going to be in a stacked. One card is going to be selected. It's going to be replaced. And it looks like we are going to pick another card. Now let's look. I'm going to have a yellow card, and then I'm going to have a green card. So remember, it was 10 out of 30 for the yellow. We assume that this happens. We replace the cards. We're back to a lot of 30. Now we go ahead and look at our green. And how many green do we have? 6. So the 10, this one's for the yellow. This one's for the green. And now we multiply. That's going to be 60 out of 900. Or if you just want to type it in, it's 10 over 30 times 6 over 30, math enter, enter, is 1/15. And sure enough, that is the same as 60 over 900. It's just reduced. And we're just verifying here. And there it is. All right, if the video just cut out really weird there, it is because I did this particular problem wrong. So in our first pick, because this implies, and if I didn't write it out there, I will be fixing it, that we're going to be picking 2 cards with replacing it. So the first pick is a yellow card. That's 10 out of a total of 30. If you look up above, we added them up and we got 30. I'll show you that, and just in case the video cut out weird, there's 10, 6, 9, and 5 for a total of 30. Okay, so there's our first yellow card. Then you got to remember we're replacing it. So replacing it. Since we are replacing it, we are going to have another 30, and we're going to put our yellow one back. That's another 10 out of 30. So that's 100 out of 900, and sure enough, that's going to be 1 out of 9 as a fraction. Okay, so if you see 10 out of 30 times 10 out of 30, that's where the 1 over 9 comes from. Again, if the video cut out kind of funny there, it is because I made a mistake. I had to go back and fix it. So yellow and red. So yellow was 10 and red was 5. That's our first pick, so that's 15 out of 30. Times our second pick, green or red. So remember, we're putting them back. So green was 6, red was 5. 6 and 5. So that's 11 out of 30 again. Remember, we're replacing it, so this 30 is staying the same. So 15 out of 30 times 11 out of 30. Math, enter, enter, makes 11 out of 60. I've got kids coming in 10 minutes. I think I can get this done. Now we're going to do this, but we are not going to replace them, okay? So every time we're going to start with 30, but then the next fraction is going to go down to 29. So we can just do that now because we are not replacing it. So the first fraction will be 30 and the second fraction will be 29. Not replacing it. So orange, how many orange were there, everyone? There was 9 oranges. So here's that orange card. Now remember, because we actually are not replacing it, since this was orange, we have to assume we get it. So now our orange goes down to 8. So we have 9 out of 30 times 8 out of 29. Math, enter, enter. Woo. 12 out of 145 as a fraction. Now let's see, yellow and then green. So yellow was 10. All right, green. Green is 6. So remember, it is going down in the denominator because we are not replacing it. Now I kept 10 and I'm not replacing that yellow card. That's okay, I'm just looking for green. So 10 out of 30 times 6 out of 29, math, enter, enter, gives me 2 out of 29 as a fraction. Now I'm looking for green or red. So how much was the green? The green was 6 and the red was 5, so it's 11, times yellow or red. Ooh, I'm going to need to change that note just to say yellow, so not or red, okay? That's a little too complicated for us. All right, so we're looking for green or red and then just yellow, and that was 10. Okay, so we're going to do 11 out of 30, math, enter, enter. Oh, times 10 out of 29, math, enter, enter, and we end up with 11 over 87. Okay, now what we're going to do is some quick review of Algebra 1A. So we are going to do our absolute values, which we have been doing, separate them into two, flip the less than to a greater than, and the 18 to a negative on your second one. Both of them, you will take away 3. Negative 2x is less than or equal to 15. Divide by negative 2. Because you're going to be dividing by a negative, I will show that step. Dividing by a negative will flip your sign. Please remember that. So it's negative 7.5. Now we're going to take away 3 and take away 3. So we get negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 21. Divide by negative 2. Because we're dividing by a negative, you have to flip your sign. Just to use numbers, again, I've got students coming in very, 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 very fast. You should skip evenly, please. But I'm just going to put negative 7.5 here. I'm going to put 10.5 here. I am not skipping evenly because I am rushing. I have kids coming in. You really should. Closed circle at negative 7.5. Closed circle at negative 10 or positive 10.5. Let's see. This one's going to be greater than or equal to that way. This one's less than or equal to this one. Now let's see. This was a less than problem, so it's an and. So my only answer is where they overlap. So the overlapping happens in this area. So only where they overlap. So anything in this area is an answer. It starts at negative 7.5 and it ends at 10.5. All right, last ones, my students. So we have 4x is greater than negative 28 and 4x is less than positive 28. Divide by 4, divide by 4, x is greater than negative 7. Divide by 4, divide by 4, x is less than positive 7. So negative 7 could be here, positive 7 could be here. They are both open circles. This one says that it needs to be greater. Let me get this out of here. This one says it needs to be greater than negative 7, and this one says it needs to be smaller than positive 7. This was an or problem, so the answer is anywhere either of the line exists. So our final answer would be, take a look at this black highlight, it would be from negative infinity, and it would go all the way to positive infinity because it's where either or exists. So it's, again, from negative infinity to positive infinity, so it's all real numbers or infinite solutions. I did promise you I'd change these to percentages, so I'll do that for like 5 or 6 of them, and then the process is the same for everything. So this one right here, what was our final answer? 1 out of 48. So you do 1 over 48, and then you just multiply by 100, and that is going to give me a essentially 1% chance. 1 over 12 times 100, that's going to give me an 8.3% probability. 5 over 24 times 100, that's going to give me a 20.8%. See, 1 out of 72 times 100, oof, that's only giving me a 1.4% chance. 1 out of 8 times 100, that's going to give me a 12.5% chance. And that's how you would do all of your fractions into percentages. I know that was fast, but hopefully those of you who are at home and need to catch up, that was helpful. Have a great day.